Bhadman is on the verge of sleeping with the very woman her husband hired him to look after. This woman recently lost her vision as a result of a work accident. She's married to Smart, her longtime lover, who still adores her despite her blindness and works diligently to take care of her. Due to her condition, her husband entrusts her to Bhadman's care while he works to support her. Bhadman walked into her room to serve her lunch, but the sight of her half naked on the bed awakens a different desire in him. The lady heard the door open and curiously asked who was there, but Bhadman, filled with dark intentions, stayed silent to conceal his presence in the room. Certain that someone was in the room, the lady continued calling out, expecting an answer, while Bhadman stood quietly, devising how to take advantage of her vulnerability. He quietly inches toward the bed, making sure not to create a single sound that could reveal his movement to the lady. He quietly places the food tray at the edge of the bed, then carefully sits down while the lady keeps searching the room for him. Evil often wears patience like a mask, waiting in silence for the perfect moment to strike. Bhadman moves quietly toward the lady, his eyes locked on her, patiently waiting for the perfect moment to strike. He suddenly grabs the woman, forcing her onto the bed as she struggles with all her strength to resist him, but in the end, he overpowers her. Before Bhadman was pityingly hired to care for the woman, he was a hopeless man living on the streets. He sat on the street, lost in thoughts about his difficult life, when Smart, the woman's husband, passed by, and he rushed toward him desperately seeking help. He pleaded with Smart for some money to buy food, explaining that he hadn't eaten in days and was struggling without a job. When life pushes a man to the edge of hunger, even his pride begins to beg for mercy. Smart tells Bhadman that he has no money to give and explains that simply giving him cash would leave him hungry again tomorrow. He tells him to get up from his knees to avoid attracting attention from passers-by, then shares his idea of how he can help him. Without verifying Bhadman's true character, Smart, moved by compassion, opens up to him and shares about his wife's blindness. He suggests to Bhadman that instead of staying on the streets without food or shelter, he could hire him to care for his wife while he is away, let him live with them, and pay him a monthly salary. Seeing this as a chance to leave the streets, Bhadman immediately agrees to take the job and promises to perform it diligently. Out of compassion, Smart hired a total stranger he found on the street and without hesitation offered him the opportunity to live in his house. Shortly after Bhadman assaulted the woman, she sits on the bed, hurling curses at him and warning that she will tell her husband upon his return, while Bhadman sits beside her, overwhelmed with regret. He suddenly realizes that he allowed his emotions to control him, leading to actions he now regrets, fearing the consequences if they are exposed. Regret often follows the moment we let impulse outweigh judgment. Already threatened by the woman's warning to tell her husband, and knowing that he could be traced even if he fled, he decides to find a permanent solution to his fears. In his mind, permanently silencing the woman means preventing any confession and ensures he can continue living in the man's house, as he believes Smart is too compassionate to let him remain on the streets. Desperation twists reason, making the unthinkable seem like the only way forward. He calmly lifts a pillow toward the woman and silently begins to smother her. In an attempt to evade the consequences of his earlier crime, Bhadman resorts to murder, intending solely to escape punishment. When one crime is committed to cover another, guilt becomes a chain that binds the soul. With the woman lying dead on the bed, Bhadman proceeds to his second plan to stage her death as an accident. He moves the woman's lifeless body to the bathroom, where she had showered earlier, intending to stage it as if she had slipped while bathing. He hits her head against the wall, creating visible injuries to support his lie when her husband discovers her lifeless in the bathroom. Satisfied that he has covered his tracks, he leaves the bathroom, anticipating that her husband will find her lifeless upon his return. The day Smart brought Bhadman into the house, he had no idea he was bringing a ticking time bomb into his home to care for his disabled wife. He arrived as a stranger in need of help, seemingly ready to repay the kindness by diligently performing the tasks assigned to him. Smart introduced him to his wife, explaining how he had met him, and without hesitation, she warmly welcomed him into their home without asking any questions about him. Generosity opens doors to strangers, sometimes without knowing the danger within. On this day, he officially entrusted his wife to Bhadman's care to help with cooking and cleaning in his absence, indirectly leaving her alone with a stranger he knows nothing about. Hope for the living can, in certain moments, become a curse for the departed. Smart returns home from work and, as usual, calls out to his wife, but is met with silence the moment he steps inside. The heavy silence in the house makes him uneasy, as his wife has always answered him when he returned, prompting him to call out for her while searching the house. Silence can speak louder than words, especially when it replaces the familiar voice of those we love. He walks into the bedroom and is surprised to find his wife absent, heightening his unease since he knows she rarely leaves the house due to her condition. Absence where presence is expected often signals that something is terribly wrong. The wife's body lies in the bathroom as Smart steps out of the room and pauses at its door. He knocks on the door and, noticing it isn't locked, pushes it open, only to be shocked to find his wife lying lifeless on the floor.
VJ Rex Fashions presents The Power of Style, tailored to define greatness, built for leaders, dreamers, and men of purpose. Style like a Senator, dress like royalty, only at VJ Rex Fashions.
He immediately calls for Bhadman while attending to his wife, trying to determine whether she is dead or merely unconscious. Bhadman rushes in, feigning shock at the crime he committed, watching as Smart easily falls for the ruse, while he suggests she slipped in the shower, placing no blame on himself. Deception wears the mask of concern, fooling even the most trusting eyes. Smart immediately tells Bhadman to help him carry his wife from the bathroom to the sitting room, hoping to get her medical attention quickly. Smart clings to the hope that his wife can still be saved, unaware that Bhadman, the very cause of her fate, already believes she's gone. Hope fights to see life even when death has already taken its place. They lay the woman on the couch, and to their surprise, she suddenly begins to cough, a sign that life still lingers in her. In excitement, Smart quickly asks Bhadman to bring her some water to help stabilize her as she regains consciousness. In Bhadman's absence, the woman quickly tells Smart that Bhadman had earlier forced himself on her, and to stop her from exposing him, he tried to kill her. The truth often finds its voice when evil believes it has silenced it forever. Bhadman enters the kitchen in shock from the woman's sudden revival, realizing that her return to life means all his dark secrets will soon be revealed. Unaware that the woman, with her fading strength, has revealed everything to her husband, Bhadman quietly decides to leave the house unnoticed while Smart is still attending to her. He enters the sitting room, and Smart immediately steps forward to prevent him from leaving. This is a lesson to everyone. Blind trust or rushing to help strangers without verification can have dangerous consequences. Please share this video and comment where you watched from.